So we are going to make a maze game where a user can move throughout the maze and they can finally get to the end of the maze, hopefully win the game or eventually move on to the next level. So we're going to go ahead and start that. So first thing you want to do is you want to click in the top corner, create, okay, in your project, loads, and we're going to name this maze game project. And once we've done that, we're going to look at our first sprite. So we have this sprite here. His name is Scratch, but you can choose any sprite that you want. You can delete him and add a different one. We're just going to keep him here. So I'm going to change my sprite name. We're going to change his name to Scratch. And I'm going to make him smaller because eventually I want him to start at the beginning of a maze and like work his way through and wind through and then finally get to the end of the maze. And he's pretty big right now, so we're going to change his size. Let's say 15%. And that's really small, but the maze is going to be small as well, so he has to be able to navigate through it. Now I'm going to go online and I'm going to just find a maze black and white from online. Okay, and you can choose any one that you want. I would choose one that has very dark black lines in it. You don't want to choose a maze that is like very pixelated and blown up, meaning that you can almost see through the walls. That's not one solid black color. Choose one that has a solid black color like this. Doesn't have to be this one. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to save this, save image as, and I'm going to call it maze one. Okay, it says I already have a file named maze one. I'm just going to save over top of it. Okay, so it went ahead and downloaded it. Now that I've done that, I'm going to clear out of that tab and come back here. Now I'm going to click down here in the bottom right corner and click on the stage, which is the backdrop or the background, and the different backdrops for my stage. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click down here. I'm going to click down here in the bottom left corner and I'm going to upload my own backdrop, and that's going to be called Maze 1. And this original backdrop, backdrop 1, I'm going to delete that. All right, so I have this maze, and I can make it bigger if I want. I click this magnifying glass, right, and I zoom out, and if I click down and like draw a square on the outside of it, I can drag it and make it bigger. I'm just going to make it just the slightest bit bigger so that way Scratch can work his way through the map. All right, Scratch is still a little bit too big, so we're actually going to make him even smaller. You'll barely be able to see him at the end of this. All right, so he's really small, but he fits in the edges. I'm going to pick him up and I'm going to make this the beginning of our maze, and I'm going to put him right here. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go back to my code, and we want him to move left, right, up, and down throughout the maze with my arrow click. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the events on the left side of the screen, and I'm going to drag in when a certain key is pressed. So when the up arrow is pressed, we want him to go up. When the down arrow is pressed, we want him to eventually go down, and the same with left and right. So I'm just going to right click here and say duplicate, and one last time I'm going to right click and I'm going to say duplicate, and instead of down, this one's going to be right and this one's going to be left. Now we're going to add code to it and make a move, because right now, as you see when I click, it doesn't actually do anything. So we're going to add code to each of these events in each button click in the next tutorial.